Turks, Jake Uger, Ben Mankiewicz with you. JR is producing. And the reason you heard that song is because Tommy Chong joins us in the studio. From Cheech and Chong, of course, everybody remembers, and now the author of the E. Chong.
Yep.
Meditations from the Joint.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my book.
I got to say, there's a picture of Tommy on the cover of the book from behind bars, and you served how long?
I did 9 months.
You did 9 months. I mean, I'll tell you, prisons, you look good in prison.
Actually, I got very healthy in prison.
Did you really?
Yeah, I lost a lot of weight. I exercised. I went to bed early.
Yeah.
I got to get out of my clothes about 4 times a day for the strip searches.
Oh, nice.
So that exercise was
sure.
helpful,
Yeah, that sounds great.
And bending over, they're looking up my butt. So, I had a...
Do they really?
lot of, yeah.
4 times a day?
Sometimes. And
How
then,
often would they find things up people's butts? I mean,
I have no idea. I don't know the statistics.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to imagine that people are onto it. Hey, they're looking in our butt. Let's not put something up there.
Wow.
We're talking about some really stupid criminals.
Yeah,
here,
that's
guys.
true.
I mean, they're the guys that got caught.
Yeah.
Remember that.
When's the last time you and Cheech got together and smoked?
And smoke?
Yeah.
Years. We haven't smoked for together for
There's no conceivable...
20, 30,
20, 30
25 years.
In case you haven't figured it out, we're talking to Tommy Chong. His book is the E. Chong, Meditations from the Joint.
Oh, I take that back. I just remembered. We smoked just before I went to jail.
So you at your prime of smoking versus Snoop at his prime of smoking. It's not even a contest. Snoop wins, right?
I've smoked with Snoop.
Of course, yeah.
Well, the brothers. I smoked with Marley too, Bob Marley.
Oh, did you really? Wow.
Now that was.
How did that
I didn't have to light up anything, man. I just walk in the room.
Here
There was Marley. It was his old band, with Bunny.
The Wailers,
and
or
the whole.
wow.
Yeah, the
Wow.
Wailers, and all those good guys. And we walked in. They wanted to meet us, so we went to the Roxy early, and we walked into the dressing room, and they were all laid out on the dressing room. It looked like an opium den, and the smoke was so thick you couldn't even. You could get it with a knife, and we walk in, and I don't know who it was. It wasn't Marley, but one of the guys goes, "Hey, Chinaman, say something funny, man."
That's ironic because that's about as funny as it gets.
I couldn't beat that one.
Yeah.
No, I've smoked up with some pretty heavy people, man.
All right,
How did you? I'm sorry, Jake. But how did you smoke with Snoop? And what was it?
Snoop, I did a movie with
Yeah.
him called Car Wash.
No, okay.
Car Wash, and we kind of...
So you rapped for the day, and you.
We talked, yeah. You had to get by his bodyguard. He had a big old bodyguard there. All those guys have bodyguards.
Did you ever smoke with Pauly Shore or no?
I don't think so.
No. How about Dick Cheney? Ever smoke up with him?
I came close to Dick, but he's more of a drunk than he is a smoker.
So let's talk about a time that was not so much fun. Why in the world did the government bust you, and on what charges?
Well, the charges was conspiring to ship one bong or an order of bongs, paraphernalia, drug paraphernalia.
Oh, I thought it was armed robbery. It turns out it's over a bong?
Is over drug paraphernalia, which, according to the government, could be an apple, a roach clip, an alligator clip. It
Right.
could be anything. It could be anything, a beer can, anything used that the government witness says it could be used for smoking pot. That's paraphernalia. So if you shipped a beer can, an empty beer can,
And you were.
could get busted.
And your shipment was going to the DEA, so it was a sting operation.
It was a sting operation that they had going for. Well, it's typical Bush administration stuff,
So what'd they do?
Well, then once the crime was committed, then they raided my house February 24th, 03, and they come in with a SWAT team, and they went from room to room, and they grabbed all my computers, my son's computer, and then they grabbed the cash that I had in my house that had nothing to do with any kind of bongs or anything,
Right.
just cash. And then they told me I wasn't under arrest, and then they said that the government would be get in touch with them, and they'll give me a deal I can't refuse.
All right, now, for those of you watching on theyoungturks.com, look at Tommy Chong and tell me, do you need a SWAT team to arrest this guy, bust into his house? And what they found all those. First of all, you're obviously dangerous. It's obvious. You're a danger with all those.
Well, I was standing there with my jockey shorts on. I had a bit of a woody, so maybe that was their danger thing.
And did they find anything in the house?
Other than the woody? No, they didn't. No, they did. They did. They found almost a pound of weed. Because they asked me, is there any drugs, any weed around? I said, well, yeah. And they said, where? If you tell us, it'll go faster.
Right.
I said, well, probably every room in the house. And they said, well, just be more specific.
Because when you want to smoke, you don't want to have to go far.
That's right. Well, you forget. You walk from one room to another
Like,
room.
what was
and
I
you
doing?
forget. Yeah,
exactly.
And so I told him about a bud I had and I was very proud of this bud. Because, when they bust stoners, we don't think we've done anything wrong. So when they ask you have any weed, it's sort of like it's a sharing thing anyway.
Right, you're like, oh, sure, what do you want?
Yeah, so you say, oh, I got this great bud downstairs. And they went down, and then the guy came back and said, I can't find it, sir. And then I got on his butt. And I think that's another reason I went to jail, because I said, what kind of DEA agent are you, man? He said, well, I don't have my dog. And I said, that's another thing. What are you doing on a drug raid without your dogs? And they got all apologetic, and they said, well, we're here for bongs. And then he went down, and he found the bud, and he came back real proud. He said, I found it, sir. And I felt like going, oh, that's a good boy.
That's a good little DEA
Feed
agent.
him something out of my pocket.
Right,
Give him a little dog
Give a
biscuit.
treat. Yeah.
If they wanted to find a weed, they should have brought Snoop Dogg. Let's get real. That's what they should have done.
What?
But this is all joking around and ha he he. But then they actually put you in jail.
Yeah, they did.
But why did you plead guilty?
Because they threatened to go after my son and my wife.
How so?
They said that they would indict my son and my wife and put them on trial too.
Wow.
And they
Or
said,
you take a deal. And
I take a deal and only I go.
So
So you actually did 9 months
Yeah.
in a
Where?
Federal prison?
Well, it's the kind of prison that they built in the I guess in the 70s. When Nixon and the Watergate people they all went to jail. Haldeman, Ehrlichman.
So you went to a country club prison.
So they had to build a certain prison for these guys, and so the prison I'm in was patterned. It was in Taft. It's patterned after that Republican prison for the Watergate people. And I think they're anticipating more Republicans because they've expanded it.
Sure, you got Tom DeLay's got to go.
They
Randy
got
Cunningham.
Abramoff.
But in the prison you were in, nobody was getting anally raped or anything like that.
Well, all that homo stuff, all that Bubba stuff, it's not true. It doesn't hurt.
No comment on that one. Now, actually, the
You got to
government...
breathe out.
We're talking to Tommy Chong. He wrote the book, The E Chong or the I Chong, depending on how you pronounce it. In the trial, they talked about terrorism somehow. How did that come into play?
They said that the drug business, including the bongs, fund terrorism.
Oh, I see. But you
And,
were...
but they didn't cite the example of, say, Afghanistan, where when the Taliban were in, there were no drugs.
Right, and
And
now
the minute America come in, it's a $80 billion business.
an
again.
opium trade, right?
So, but they inferred, as the Republicans, as this administration has the habit of doing, inferring that I was responsible for the terrorist attack.
Yeah.
And therefore, I should go to jail.